Democratic Republic of Congo.
Oh, sit down, sit down.
That research, we educate the world about Nigeria. We educate central banks about Nigeria. We help educate the IMF about Nigeria. And so being here is a very important thing. And what we want to do is be open in more countries in Europe, in Africa, so that over time the next generation has a footprint here. And when you're here, you actually have much more local knowledge. So you're in Lagos, you know much more about what's going on in Nigeria than I could know sitting in New York City. And we're quite optimistic about the future of Africa. I really do wish that America helped get our companies over here to help Africa, to help grow and expand and bring capital, ideas, technology, et cetera. And that's kind of why we're here. And and then we rely on local town, .ou, to help your country.
No, thank you.
Often have different outcomes than people expect, and sometimes when they start, they can be lasting for 5, 6, or 7 years. And so I think it's incumbent on all of us to worry about it. It doesn't stop J.P. Morgan from expanding. We want to serve clients and serve countries and be respected wherever we do business to help Nigerians in Nigeria and Nigerian companies here, and also Nigerian companies as they go overseas. So we still have expansion plans, so worrying about that doesn't stop us from doing things, but we just have to be very conscious of the risk it creates.
With the leader of the Conservative Party, with the leader of
nice idea, but it won't help. It'll just formalize the reality that poor countries can never repay their loans.
Senator, are you saying that you're opposed to debt relief for impoverished countries?
No, we should forgive the debts, but that's not going to help those countries very much.
Okay. What will?
Tax cuts. Some African tax rates are the highest in the world. In Tanzania, the 30% rate kicks in at $475 of income. Plus, they have a 20% value-added tax. It gets added to everything you buy. Those high tax rates make it impossible to build capital in those countries. So nothing gets built, not factories, not roads, not anything. Poor African countries have the lowest wage workers in the world. And yet a company like Nike, for instance, can't put a factory in one of those countries because of the oppressive tax rates. Taxes have killed any possibility of economic development. They've killed any hope of these countries ever helping themselves. And that leaves them completely at the mercy of charity and loans. And here's the worst part. You know why those countries have such high tax rates? Because of us. To show us that they can raise enough money to pay back their loans. But taxes can't raise any money if they kill the economies. So it turns out that the tragic, unintended consequence of our good intentions toward Africa, our kindness, is that we have encouraged those countries to lock themselves into a gruesome economic depression. If we don't urge those countries to cut their tax rates, they will never grow their economies. People will live lifetimes of unemployment. Disease will be rampant. Poverty will be permanent. And children will be hungry. And our charity will never be enough. Never.
Europeans come to this continent, literally ethnically cleanse the indigenous population out of existence, kill them on a scale that has hardly been equaled by the millions, and refer to them as savages. That's an achievement. Who's the savage? If you go, the first time I encountered this was in a little town in Massachusetts called Deerfield, or Old Deerfield. It's a reconstruction of what that little town looked like in colonial America. And so the houses are redone to look like they did then. Very nice job. It's a tourist thing. You go there and you look at that. And in front of each house is a plaque that explains something about this house. It was inhabited by the Yipsy Doodle family or whatever it was. And then description. On the 18th of October of 1702, the savages attacked. I remember the first time I saw this, the savages. You come in here, destroy everything these people have, and they are the savages. That's an interesting move.
It is.
You know?
I hadn't thought of that before.
Think about it.
First batch is 25. How solid is the state financially to ensure that none of them will be abandoned?
We put our priority right. We first of all, we engineer our finances. It will be slow in gestation because people are not, naturally will not respond to new creative method of financing. But this is what, this is an innovation, and equally the standard of this building that we are bringing is another pace-setting program for those schools. The funding is not there to take everything in one go, but by managing a good cash management method, we are not going to hold nobody, and we are not going to abandon no project.
Your Excellency, sir, a project like this has to be sustained by teachers who can actually face the challenge. Do you plan to train your teachers to make them use the standard of education and educational goals?
We will continue to upgrade the teacher training program. Equally, we are going to hire more teachers. Okay? Those who are on temporary appointments will be converted to have job security. This part of the government program. Put the teacher and the people first. Equally, we will have training the trainers program in information technology. I don't want to give any credential to whatever they are saying. It doesn't distract from the fact that I was at the convention. I was invited properly, and have an honored guest, position. So, who are they that I need to prove anything to them? I was there, and what's their business? Is that about the high unemployment in this country? Is that about lack of food on the tables and the kitchen of the poor? Is that about electricity that they cannot even properly privatize, blackmailing the honorable minister and forcing somebody to resign because they want to turn it to family patrimony? Is that the cause of infrastructure that is lacking in this country? Is that, shouldn't we even share knowledge, acquire knowledge, to really understand, what a nation needs.
How prepared are you for next month's election in those states?
We are very, very prepared. The candidates working hard, the party is working very hard. All our structure are in place. And as long as the election is well monitored, policed, and controlled, we are very sure of victory.
Study the anthropology of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we? No. Political power is not going to be served in a restaurant. It's not served in a la carte. It's what we are doing. It's being determined to do it. At all costs, fight for it, grab it, snatch it.
Yes, sir.
I'm wrong with you.
Yes, sir. Jagaban. Jagaban. Yes. The country is going through a very strong phase of reform. And this reform is taking a very bold and hard decision. For example, you might be hearing from home now in the last few days about fuel prices. But can we help it? Can we develop? You use their good roads there. You see electricity being constant. You see water supply being constant and running. What is the critical path to get us there? If we cannot take hard, painful decisions to pave the way, now is to provide the leadership that is necessary. And I'm committed to that. It's not all about politics. If you are afraid of taking the hard decision when it is time to do it, you probably will not be able to build a national consensus any day, anytime.
And I just take the last part of Order 38. That is order of the business. Mr. President, the order of the business says, number 10, that our business for the day will be based on the order paper. The order paper does not contain this. And for God's sake, this is a very, very, very important matter. We should not in any way try to use the position of the Senate, because the order paper is clear and we have been doing this. I have no problem having them to come here and explain whatever. We have been doing that, but we follow known procedures. And that is, if today this thing has to be taken, you now quickly ask for supplementary order paper that will reflect this. And as you said, this is a very, very important matter. It is not a matter that you just come and tell us after we are doing business of the day. Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You will have your way, but I can have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice. This thing is very sensitive. Our people have been dominated by this matter. When you say it's matter of urgent national importance, yes, we do have matters of urgent national importance. But even those matters normally is referred to the next legislative date or another legislative date. Please, I beg you in the name of God, in the name of God, this matter is very, very important to not only us, but Nigerians that we represent. And we swear by Bible and Holy Quran that will represent the interests of the people. These people partially have spoken. The governors, the National Economic Council, and that makes
you have made your point. Can I respond to you?
You can rule me out of order.
Let me respond. Let me respond to you. Now, please, we are not here for rhetorics. We are acting on fact. Excuse me. Order, please. Order, please. Order, please. Order, please. Order.
You, because you are sitting there saying saying it's written.
I know.
Are you saying, Mr. President, that a Senate?
No, leave me. Wait a minute.
Is that fair to yourself? Now rule me out of order.
Okay, thank you very much. We're giving you a chance to speak. Please, I refer you to Order 1B, which the leader came under. Can you read Order 1B for me, please? Can you read Order 1B? Okay. Order 1B read as follows. In all cases not provided for in this standing order, or by sessional or other orders or practice of the Senate shall by resolution regulate its procedure. This is what we have just done. This is the resolution that we have just passed. You needed to have known what we have done. I therefore rule you out of order.
What the president essentially is doing is trying to pull all the resources to the southwest, particularly Lagos. Many of the oil companies are in Niger Delta, are in the Delta region. That's where they have their operations. But their headquarters are in Lagos. They pay VAT to Lagos. Dangote is paying VAT in Lagos with his factories in the north. What has Lagos done to earn that? So Lagos is getting all of that money. And now you're saying, oh yeah, that money is ours, that money is ours. No, it isn't. Lagos is what it is today thanks to the Nigeria's Commonwealth. All the infrastructures were built by Nigerian Commonwealth. The ports, the bridges, the everything. So anybody asks you must pay. So people need to be sensible. There is this thing they call in the old Zulu adage, Ubuntu. You are who you are because of me. It's common humanity. Northern governors met in Kaduna to talk about VAT. Oh, and they want to accrue more money. Let me say that they were not there for God and country or for the region. They were collecting there because they're not going to get more money. So this selfishness, oh, it's me, and the president is following that, it's raising antenna alarm in the north. To all that, yes, and the president has sent a bill. To the House about his tax reform. That is his right as the executive. But it is the right of our representatives, and we're watching them very closely. It is the right of our representatives to fight for us and kill that bill if it does not do well for the people they are representing. End of story. There is no argument. There is no argument. This is what democracy is. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his own cannot do things without reverting back to the House. And we have our representatives there that we will hold accountable.
Revenue bill as submitted to the National Assembly cannot stand the test of time because the revenue bill has gone contrary to some provisions of the Constitution. It is within the province of the federal government or any state government or local government to create an idea of expanding its revenue base. But the sharing of the revenue is not the responsibility of the federal government nor that of the National Assembly. Okay. It is of the National Assembly to the extent that when they look at the sharing, they will have to change the constitution by going round so that they remove the authority of the revenue mobilization from that province. That has not been done. And to say, let's do more consultation so that people comment on this matter, I don't think it is a negation or a disrespect or even whatever against the president. It is not. This is our country. If the president presents anything, and we, the people of Nigeria, say no, I'm coming. We, the people of Nigeria, say no. We should be, our views should be respected because the president and the governors and members of the National Assembly are there because we put them there. So they should respect our views.
Sitting under their powers, every recommendation they make is advisory. There is no conclusion or resolution of the National Economic Council that binds the president. Just like the way special advisor will advise the president. And your duty stops when the advice is given. He must not follow your advice, that you make available your opinion regarding a matter. So when we don't understand that, that's where we begin to have a problem, where you have manipulation. The Economic Council consisting of the governors. How many governors do we have in Nigeria? There are 36, right? Probably if you add the FCT minister, there are 37. How many population of Nigerians do we have? Over 220 million.
But these are representatives of the people, right?
Yes, but we have seen also how states are governed, you know, with laws and bills that are antithetical to the people, and without mentioning a particular state. For example, I can give you an example of a state that I know in Nigeria that collect heavy tax on keke nape people. And the tax they collect from the people, if you subtract it from what the people earn, it is more or less like you're working as a slave. What's the difference between that taxation and the fears that you have about the tax system at the federal level?
Yeah, you are correct. Okay, it's advisory. The president doesn't have to take the advice. However, for something such as this, you know, this is one of the, you know, big policies that would make a big impact on the country. So you want to see the president as being someone that listens. And the tax reform bill is an executive bill, and the vice president presided over the NEC meeting that requested it be withdrawn. Will you then say that the president and the vice president are not on the same page? Because
not really.
There's also...
So you can preside over a meeting that will arrive at a conclusion, and it is not suggestive that you led the resolution. Of course, you know, if you study corporate governance, you know that board meetings and resolution are arrived at by popular votes. When majority of the people agree to go this way, even you who is presiding, if you're going the other way, it means you have to follow the majority. So it would be wrong to conclude that because the council or the advisory council met and they arrived at something, that it is suggestive that the vice president made them arrive at that. That's one. Number two, Section 5 of the Constitution says the executive powers of the Federation lies in the president. The entire executive powers, which is executing the laws of Nigeria and administering the government of the Federation. But in that Section 5, it says he exercised that power either by himself or through the vice president or to the ministers of the government of the Federation or other officers. So the power lies in him. And he can tell you, do it for me, this other one, do it, right? That's one side. The second side, and which is the argument of the president, is don't throw the baby with the bad water. So the conclusion of the council is suggestive of throw the baby with the bad water, because they said withdraw it for consultation. No, it should have been this bill should now be subjected to deliberation. So the president's reaction to that is he said, no, take it to the National Assembly. Our own side as executive is to sponsor a bill. But the law recognizes a body in Nigeria that deliberate and they make the laws. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we will arrive at that.
And I just take the last part of that.
Nigerians insist that they have to impress their neighbors and other people that they eat foreign rice. I said, no rice. You either you eat what you grow what you eat, or you die. I think I tried to make my point. And later, Nigeria appreciated it because it provides more jobs. People go back to the land. We have the land, and we produce what we eat. I have only 6 more days to go. And I try to plan to be as far away from Abuja as possible. And thank goodness I came from an area which is farthest away from Abuja. I said, if anybody false move, I establish good relationship with my neighbors. The Nigerian people will defend me. Thank you very much.
You think leadership is a common case? No. Esther said, if I perish, I perish. Whenever you are in leadership, look at what happened to Donald Trump. In America, where security is everywhere. Yet, 2 times now they wanted to kill him. Every profession has its own risk. If you're not willing to take the risk that is attached to any profession, step aside so that people who are given that mind by God will go ahead and serve God in that capacity. If you're an actor and an actress and you say you're not going to hug babes and you're not going to kiss them, step aside. Because that's what the job is. Don't come and say you're a born-again Christian. That's what the job entails. If you're a politician and you can't stand for your people that voted for you, and because you don't want to die, step aside. Because that's what the job entails. Any politician that is not behaving like Simfubara, who will resist and protest when his rights are trampled upon, knowing that our judicial system, knowing that our electoral system have failed us, that any politician who will not stand his ground, no matter the risk to his person, I said I will not speak for that politician again, and I maintain it. And you can see what is happening, because we can't go forward. We calm down. If Simfubara has been saying calm down, do you know where River State would have been? He said he's ready for them. He's fully prepared. The election must go on. The election must hold. Winners must be declared. They will be sworn in. And whatever is going to happen, let it happen. I am looking for leaders who would say nobody will rig my election. And if you rig my election, I will fight. Nigerians, come out and fight. If they kill anybody, let them kill all of us. Oh yes, and thank God I'm seeing it happen. What Fubara did, was he advocating for violence? Was he advocating that the law should be broken? No. He was advocating for his right. That's my opinion. That's my advocacy. We must advocate for our right and stand by it. I did not disqualify anybody. I don't have that right. I said I am not going to speak for anybody going forward except this person meets this criteria. In any case, we have finished 2023 election. It's over. 2027 election has not come. So anybody who is saying betrayal, what am I betraying? There is nothing on ground. When I was a spokesman in 2023, I did my job creditably well, and we convinced Nigerians on what we believe is right. But you can see that in Nigeria, you not only have to have the power to win election, you have to have the power to defend your election. So anybody that does not have that spirit or power to defend the votes in a manner that you would say, whatever happens to me as a person, let it happen. I am not willing to speak any further for the person. So what I just simply said is that going forward, I will no longer be part of this until these fears are addressed. So I did not disqualify anybody. One, I don't have that power. Then two, I am not betraying anybody because I'm still a member of Labour Party. And you can see I'm still fighting that Labour Party should be consolidated because Nigerians are looking for an alternative to these people. That if you want to fight these people who are compulsive thieves and who are the worst amongst us, leading us, according to Senator Ndume, who is part of them, then you have to grow higher and be more aggressive than calm down. That's what I said, and I stand by it. In all honesty, I would have said we don't.
But because I'm a student of theology, I would not say so. Because when Elijah thought he was the only person that was worshiping God, God said, no, you're not the only person. There are more than 7,000 persons like you still in that country that have not done anything evil. I know them. So the only thing we have to do in this country, we must not be sentimentally attached to anybody, any politician. We must not be loyal to political parties or politicians. We have to be loyal to the country and to the law. And if any law is unjust, we have to fight the law. If anybody is doing anything illegal, no matter who the person is, we have to fight the person. So in Nigeria, we must create the environment so that those 7,000 that we do not know who are leaders will be able to begin to emerge. If the good ones keep quiet, they will never emerge. When people say people are selling their votes, you know why they are selling their votes? Because they believe that even if they vote their conscience, it will not count. Not because they want to be corrupt. They saw what happened in 2023. I was an active participant in that election of 2023. They did not sell their votes. But after, it did not count. So they'll be like, why would I go and say I'm voting for my conscience when it will not count? If I'm going to take this money, at least it will be what I gain. So if we don't fight, we are
if we don't fight, that energy that I'm looking for today, Care Africa, good afternoon. Welcome to Honor Politics, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are joining from. Get ready for some geopolitical brouhaha. As we Nigerians are head deep in North and South conundrum and corruption and produce what you eat, you die, eat what you produce, you die. Power is by grabbing and running and what have you. The world don't give a shit about us. The world is moving on. I think about 2 years ago now, when I was making concerts to understand that the world as we know it, globalization as we know it has ended. What we are in right now is deglobalization. My friend Pansat argue with me, say, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's okay. It's all right. But one thing for sure is that the hegemony, as we know it, headed by the United States of America, is in trouble. It's either survival or die. And if you know the history of America, you understand that America is not just a country, but it's an idea. An idea, an ideology that is main objective is to dominate the planet Earth. Every inch of it. That is the idea of United States of America. And it hasn't changed from day one till today as we speak. After 249 years, that idea hasn't changed. As it face challenges, hell yeah. As every other nation try to raise its ugly heads to give United States all for the money, hell to the year. The Soviet Union, West Germany, Germany itself, Imperial Japan, and of course of late, the British Empire. Abi the German, you will say, is the latest one. But today, as we speak, the Chinese have come of age to say, we are here to give you run for your money. And as we know, the American people responded and spoke loudly and say, you, Mr. J. Trump, be the distraction in chief. It is your time to be the distractor in chief. And I be one person where they talk from the one that it doesn't matter who really end up being elected as a United States president. They are just a what distraction in chief. It no matter either you are a Republican, you are a Democrat, you are short, tall, woman, pink, that all those are inconsequential. The ideology stand firm, and that confers before anything. So today, if you are paying attention, especially with the certification of President-elect Donald J. Trump on the 6th of January, a lot of people now be throwing it around. Even himself has said it. And when Trump won the election, I said America is back. A lot of people too do not understand what I mean by America is back. Is back in a position to do what he or she know how to do best. Face adversary. And today, count yourself privileged enough to not just be alive, but to be part of those people who are listening to me right now. Because I'm about to go deep to almost 200 years ago when this whole idea was launched into the international scene. So, but before we get into that, I will see refresh our memory that while we are head bent on say this one will be president, this one will be president, our world has changed. And whether we like it or not, Nigeria will change. And I'm not saying it's going to change for good or bad, but I guarantee you, by the time the United States finishes this adventure, and that 5 years, 10 years, 15, however it's going to take them for this cold war that they bat on, Nigeria will not remain the same again. Either we are aware of what is going on or we are not aware of going on. That is now, at this point, it's off the question. The fact that the country as called Nigeria is in existence today, why the world is going through what it's going through, Nigeria will not remain the same again. But one thing I guarantee you, the northern part of the country, as a group of elite, they understand what is going on. And I understand, I'm not saying, oh, other part of the country don't understand what is going on. But I'm somebody who is more interested in power. And individuals don't move power, groups does. So pay attention to why the North is actually doing what they are doing. But most importantly, Trump said he's going to turn Canada to the 51st state. A lot of people don't see why or what he actually means by that. That we will go into today. He also talked about Panama Canal, a canal that they built and running for almost 100 and something years, hand over to the Panamanian. But today they have said, we want it back. Stay tuned. We know why they also want it back. Yes, they said they also want Greenland, either by paying for it cash, just as they buy, just as they bought. Sorry. Yeah, they want Greenland, just as the other they want it by fire, by force, as we say in Nigeria. But either by cash, just as they bought Louisiana from France, or just straight up go ahead and announce it the way Russia did Crimea. Either way, within the next, by the time America finishes this adventure, Greenland will be under the UN's sphere of influence. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit tight, grab yourself a cup of coffee, glass of water, wine, juice, whatever the fuck you are into. Get situated. It's gonna be a long heck of a ride of history, of yesterday, of where we are today, and definitely where we're gonna end up tomorrow. So let it fresh out. Take us by memory lane of what I think consumptive production means when Obi choose that phrase to be his campaign logo. Maybe at the end of today, we'll understand a little bit if my suppliers have me right.
The thing I need all of you to know is this: I am not unmindful of the sacrifices that you have made to be here today. May the grace of God find and locate you wherever you are. Amen. It is not ever an easy journey when you are fighting evil. Yes. At all. But some years back, before I started this work, God told me very clearly, and I heard it very clearly. He says, once have I spoken, once has he spoken, twice have I heard. He says, the truth is enough. It is the only weapon by which you can slay the monster called Nigeria. The truth, nothing else. In my public advocacy, in my fight and my wars against this evil empire that we all live in, I have never lied against anyone. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know. That's true.
You asked. Any Nigerian who is still hanging around waiting for 2023 to change Nigeria is a fool. Line 20 Daily Faro team me up and ask them to become president of Nigeria. 20 of me, 20. Multiply their brain power by 10, factor of 10, and then force them to operate the 1999 Constitution with the governance system that is enshrined in it. We shall fail spectacularly. The problem of Nigeria can never be resolved by personnel changes. The system is designed with impunity undergirding it, and it can never deliver anything positive to the Nigerian peoples. Be those Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, Fulani, whatever they care to be. Make an Igbo man president of Nigeria in 2023 and force him to operate the 1999 Constitution. Complete waste of time. Igbo will continue to suffer the brunt of the wickedness of the Nigerian state. Every Nigerian is rendered stateless by the 1999 Constitution. It is an iniquitous, wicked, and evil document. It has nothing good for the Nigerian people. And the longer we continue to fool ourselves believing, and let me enter one quick caveat. Our rulers are actually very intelligent when they care to be, especially when it comes to their own preservation. And I know as a fact that they're already making noises about restructuring in Abuja. The Mace Snatcher and the Lawan and that one that calls himself Baja, all of them are sat there running helter-skelter, cobbling together some lies that they intend to sell to us as constitutional, what do they call it, amendment. Let's be clear. You cannot continue to build on top of lies. You can't sustain that lie. And as long as justice is missing in a place, you continue to have strife. We need to tell ourselves the truth, and that truth is that the closest we can come to normalcy in Nigeria is to have a return to the original agreements that founded this country. Those agreements are very clear in their fundamentals. One of them, federal system. Nigeria is today not a federal system. Let's stop lying to ourselves. The word federal was brought to life by the American election. Each state has its own electoral body because it is essentially a country within a larger country. That was what our fathers agreed. Nobody agreed a situation where a clueless man will sit down inside a rock and begin to issue edicts and diktats to every other person. Nobody signed on for that in 1960. All the constitutional conferences, beginning from 1948 all the way to the 1951, all the way to 1960, each and every one of them was very clear and unambiguous. Nigeria was meant to be a federal system based on parliamentary democracy. It wasn't by accident that our fathers settled on parliamentary democracy. They wanted to make democracy as close to the people as it could be. So it simply meant that if you're a parliamentarian, you knew your people knew you. It was the aggregation of the parliamentarians that determined who became the prime minister, and they were also the ones at the regional level who determined who became the premier. So democracy was devolved. It was easier for the people to become involved. What we have today is not a democracy. What we have today is not a federation. We've just become a nation of liars who readily accept every lie that we are told.
You are watching feudalism being institutionalized in broad daylight. Feudalism thrives on impunity. It does not thrive on the rule of law. That is what you are seeing institutionalized. Law does not matter and cannot and must not matter if feudalism must reign. And that is what has happened. What all the people who have helped to institutionalize this madness would have found is that they have helped to promote the reign of evil. Because if this evil is condoned in relation to one, it is institutionalized in relation to all.
I'm desperate to see Nigeria war. No, be desperate. And because I'm inside, I know it is presently a criminal enterprise. It must be dismantled. And that's how Africa is. Because as governor, I can take my state money and come here and buy a house. Buy a house all over the world that I don't need. So that's what we need to dismantle. If we dismantle it, it will work. There's no reason why we should be where we are. Today, secondary school penetration in Nigeria is 28%. China is 90%. It shouldn't be. We can do more. So we are waiting.
Our coat of many colors must not be torn asunder. That is what our enemies would prefer. Each and every person who benefits from the ruination of Nigeria is an enemy of Nigerians. Usually, they distract us. They use religion. They use ethnicity. They use politics, partisanship. But we're part of the same tapestry. We're part of the same cloth, and we mustn't tear it apart. Yes, I would love to tear apart the iniquitous Nigeria that has held all of us hostage. But I don't want to tear my country apart. I want to tear down the evil system that permits the evil that has overtaken our country. I don't want to tear the fabric apart. No, it's the system. What combines together is the fabric. It's got a coat of many colors, yes, but it becomes a coat only because the fabric was stitched together. It wasn't batik. It's not batik, it's not tie and dye. It's a patchwork of different colors. You have diversity, but it only becomes strength when you find common purpose, when you're all pulling in the same direction. The Nigerian in the northern part of Nigeria must want the rule of law. The Nigerian in the southern part of Nigeria must want the rule of law. Because what ails you as Mustafa ails Amechi. The same thing is disturbing Olakunle. Nodu is afflicted by the same. The future must hold a Nigeria that is accountable to law, both by persons and by institutions of state. We are more than them. We are by far more than them. Good morning in a new Nigeria is what we need to be saying to ourselves.
So, Nigerians, una good morning. Good morning from a new Nigeria. But at the same time, good morning from the Trump world. The Trump world, y'all, is a Trump world. Now, before Donald J. Trump, there was a man called James Monroe who pretty much kickstarted this whole the idea, the American idea, what Americans stand for, the idea of dominating the world for life. So before Donald Trump, just James Monroe. After James Monroe, there's another man. We have James K. Polk, who under him, places like Texas, California, Louisiana, were acquired through the same policy, the same foreign policy, I should say. There's also a man called Roosevelt. After Roosevelt, before Roosevelt, there is Andrew J. Johnson. There's Grover Cleveland, who got British Guiana, Venezuela, and the rest. We'll go into details all this. We'll go in detail all this. Just tell the people who are the pioneer of what Trump is about to activate. The Theodore Roosevelt of the Woodrow Wilson, who make America enter the First World War. So that the people, these are the men that came before Donald J. Trump. So what the adventure Donald J. Trump is about to embark on, men, such as that. That's what I've always said. American president doesn't matter who, doesn't matter which party. The deep states, as they call them, aka administrative states, the journey started in 1823 by the man called James Monroe. Now, there's this article, if you go, I don't know if anybody they subscribe. There's a blog, I would say, Institutional World Theory. That's the name of the blog. But I don't know if you will allow you access and you will pay. You will get details of pretty much where this whole foreign policy, how it started. Or emissary is another website, but all these are paid websites. So just so you are ready to spend money, these are the places you will go. So don't be everything like the book or TV documentary, and some are just because of the kind of information and the position they serve in, the Justice Department, CIA, penny, whatever. They are hierarchy people, so you have to actually pay to access some of the analysis. So, at the press conference on Tuesday, President-elect Donald Trump once again vowed to push U.S. foreign policy back to the future. Trump reiterated the desire to reassert U.S. control over Panama Canal. Now, this Panama Canal, it is either by military means, if necessary. A lot of us only hear about Panama Canal, but don't really know much about the history of Panama Canal and how is important is Panama Canal. How one of Ubuntu is one of the core bridge that held globalization together. So a little about Panama Canal. So Panama Canal is 50 miles long, about 82 kilometer long shipping canal that connect Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, crossing the old Panama in Central America. It's one of the most important waterways in the world, allowing ships to pass through the continent and saving time, fuel, and resources. Now, a man-made the Panama Canal, but I think a lot of people also know that. The canal was built by the United States in 1904 till the period of 10 years, pretty much, 1914. Now, a lot of people should, another, why that date is important is that pretty much now, 1949, they amalgamate Nigeria, North and South. We'll come to that. And that's pretty much at the beginning of First World War. That's when that was concluded at the cost of 350 million then, approximately 8 billion today. 8 billion, and they take that one, but just put that for your mind. Maybe we know how much when they call billions our TV at times. You just know saying I just to route to also. Maybe all those billions. That's actually amount is stole. But that's a different conversation. The canal was operated by the United States until December 31st, 1999. Now imagine they constructed that in 1914. They used that for how many years? Till 1999. Before they handed on over to Panama. Then in 2006, a major expansion was carried out. Now, we'll get to why America wanted it back. So about 14,000 vessels now they pass through that canal pretty much every year. So now big deal. It saves so much time. Save about almost about 13 kilometers of journey in 99. That's just Panama Canal saved. But of late, China has invested billions on billions since it's not a Panamanian yet now, right? So of course, China swiftly took advantage of that for the fact that they invested a lot of this. They build their power grids, build roads. You know how China people they do now. Just like what they do for us now, right? They do for us. Europe, build the way, build the way, Canada to Israel, everywhere, right? Now, some people will say, "Oh, I think I heard somebody send me a write up by una investigative journalist, Kilon Kwensi. David. David was kind of making on the Chinese side. That after all, Chinese know the interfere, know the just make some lousy excuses. What he was trying to say is that the Chinese people they are investing in infrastructure, developing infrastructure at pretty much, 100% their cost. That if they are not interested in our progress, they won't be doing all that. That's like, who won this guy? Who is this guy? When the British people and the American first they come our shore, what do you think they were doing? All the churches where we get to the nobody David and after all, today Obi is still bragging how he has given why during this time he gave school back to the missionaries. Those are the same benevolent way they say the enter. Just the same thing Chinese people are doing. They look at what you don't have and they provide it. And at this point, maybe education, they teach them we need again. They don't need it. The only thing we allow, I mean, by their own submission, the Chinese people is infrastructure. And hence, the Belt and Road Initiative. So that's how it starts. Right? Let's say in the next 100 years, Chinese become the hegemony of the world, take America out. Do you think their treatment to you go see the way they start? I don't think so. Now that's the Panama Canal. So Trump's alluding to the fact that if necessary, they will use military, and that's the reason he's saying that because you know there are other various interests and power who have invested. So for them to come and say they want to take back the control of Panama Canal, I don't know how it's going to work out with the Chinese people who have invested heavily, or even the Panamanian who now own the 100% of that. So that's a different, and the main reason why they need to take control back is because of the statistic I just put out, how important that route is, right? Now, if the Americans take over the Panama, they will not then go to collect the fees, right? Because before no be free. Before your ship pass, you have to pay from some up to like $500,000. It all depends on how big your ship is. So imagine now if America should not take over that Panama, all they needed to do is to just increase the fuel, just like Jackson can tariff that will be added detrimental to the Chinese business that goes around there. So it's the reason why the man. But again, maybe at the end of our conversation, we understand why America is doing what they are doing and why they always talk say how many people are ready to sacrifice to get freedom, right? Because the America in the situation they are today, not necessarily because they do anything or they lost anything, but it's because the Chinese have grown so influential and eat part of the cake that only America did eat before. Some of their business empire now is being eroded by the Chinese people. So what do you think is going to happen? Your lifestyle it go start to dey shrink by the day. So that's exactly what you want to do as a nation, as a country. If we say we want decided to want enter that developmental stage, which we have to free ourselves first, means we are going to say, you know what, enough of these things that is coming in. We don't want, so you are literally going to affect somebody else's lifestyle. I mean, that's not our business anyway. But what is our business here is how are they going to react? So, which is in our own case, they don't need to come and shoot us with gun like before again. Have to just cut our supplies, and problem go start. So, at the same, that's exactly how you see what is going on in the world, why the world order is changing, why America is doing whatever they are doing, why China needs to step up their game, and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much at the basic, at the easiest way to understand how work really works in a nutshell. Now Trump continued. He said that by military if necessary. Make Canada the first 50 the first US 51st US state and annex Greenland for national security purpose. Such approach will be staggering departure from the Biden administration liberal internationalism, but with deep roots in U.S. foreign policy. Now, some people say, "Oh, I want to take over Canada." Mm, that easy. If you actually want to see it from a layman perspective, just go take over Canada. They very easy. They can do it if they want to. But the best way, no be by God these days, right? Pretty much soft power and economic power. America is the biggest Canadian, US now is the biggest Canada international trading partner. Just process that for a minute and see how they will do you. If but anyway, let's move on to there on that. It's already happening. And now, Trump also said they are going to annex Greenland for national security purposes. That sounds very familiar, right? Everything on national security. Once it's national security, they only debate that. It's case closed, right? National security. So now, again, on the same approach, how do you take over Greenland? Why you want to take over Greenland? Greenland is almost twice the size of Texas. With tomorrow's mineral resources. When I mean tomorrow mineral resources, tomorrow technology is powered by EV. most of the resources that and many more. Now, why now? One would say because the whole place was covered with ice. So some will argue that global warming don't they affect the place. So most of those ice is clearing off, and it's an island. Some will argue say, "Oh, na Canada now it's under Denmark control." Yes, but it's not really under Denmark land per se. They say, but it's just an island that just like Puerto Rico, Alaska, and the rest of America. So that one they will go easy. They are ready to pay, just like the way they pay for Louisiana and the rest. But if you are not ready to take cash, we take it by force. Now there's also a reason why they need to take over that place too, because as we speak, Russia is the biggest uh, uh, power in that region over the island, not even the Denmark themselves. Russia controls vast land, natural resources along that coast of Greenland. So again, just like if America won't go back, as they say they want to take over Panama Canal, they will meet the Chinese people there who have invested a lot. The same thing with Greenland. Yeah, I know that they don't take over the whole Greenland, but when you talk about external influence outside the Denmark themselves, not Russia. So it'll be interesting to see how that play out too. But the good thing is that I think everybody in America kind of agree with Trump. And when I mean everybody, I'm talking about those that are on power, not be every Tom, Dick, and Harry on the street. Now, Trump's determination to treat the Western Hemisphere as a U.S. sphere of influence signal a rival of the Monroe Doctrine. The strategy first introduced by President James Monroe in 1823 that shaped U.S. policy, that shaped U.S. foreign policy decisively through the early 20th century and subsequently during the Cold War. Trump remarks suggest that unchallenged hemispheric dominance will be at the core of his American First approach for the same two motives driven the Monroe Doctrine to prevent outside powers from meddling and mitigating perceived chaos in the region. Resuscitating his tradition, however, would be both risky and counterproductive to the U.S. foreign policy and the global. Now, the Monroe Doctrine is that the whole Americas, north, south, west, whatever, or the whole fucking planet, is a no-go area for any other power. Now, why would they do that in early 1800? Early 1800, America is just what? Under 100 years, right? They still pretty much regard as a new colony, even though we will no longer say our country is 60 years old, is still young. But the country like France, like the Dutch, Britain, Germany, USSR are already everywhere running shit, right? They've already have their colony, Haiti, pretty much everywhere. Even the Americans, even with British colonies before they fought back, right? So, but France are still having sway within those regions, up to the Brazil, you just name it. So by the time United States come of age, they have to say, you know what, stay clear of this area. We run shit here now. This is our hole. This is our block. Stay clear. Or you fuck around, you're gonna find out. That was what James Monroe Doctrine is pretty much about. This is 1823. Now, as the story develops, as American story continues, right? Now, that doctrine is both shield and sword at the same time. It's a 200 years ago, as rebellious against Spanish colonial rule, rock. Yeah, I forgot to mention Spain. Spain were also in the European. I mean, That's exactly what we are going back to now, right? America, they unplug everyone. The whole European Union, now America put that together, just like they put war back together. But at this point, America say, man, we need to this game no favor us again. We are losing bigly. To use Trump words, we need to get our ass together. For that reason, you're on your own for now. I don't know about that for now. So the continent of Europe is going back to what it used to be in 18 to pretty much early 1900. Because I mean, they finished their Second World War in 1945. So what was happening at that time after they defied themselves? Britain and French were in war back to back for 100 straight years. The China, the Spanish, so they were all the idea of the barbarian thing. So I was coming from there. So that's where we are headed. So that's where we are headed now. So how this one they affect us? We are coming. We'll soon find out. Now, Spanish colonial rule Latin America. U.S. leader worried that other European power might fill the vacuum. To preempt this outcome, Moron conjured an American system. Now, what is that American system, right? American system. Let's go into what the American system is because Trump self go doing all right. So when Moron presented the American system to the Joint Congress in 1823. I can pull that off so that you can try to speak for my eyes. American system. Now, the American system refers to as a set of policy and principles that guided U.S. foreign policy in the Western hemisphere during the 19th and 20th centuries. The concept was first articulated by U.S. Secretary of State Henry Clay in the 1820s and was later championed by President James Monroe. Now, some of the key we need to actually notice how it laid the foundation of what Trump is about to continue. That the US would not tolerate further European colonization in the Americas. Stay clear of the Americas. It doesn't matter if it's South or North or wherever it is, run. Now, the US sought to promote unity and cooperation among Americans. This is in 1800. Remember, they are just now. This is 1820. They got their independence in 1776. So 20 some life 50. They don't be like us now. Over the 60, 70. We just be like us. They don't already stand their ground. They don't already stand their ground. They come. Oh, it's just like I'm Nigeria chop belly food tomorrow. Just wake up. They come. I don't want to see any colonial power in any inch near African continent again. The only way we can do that now when we get nuclear weapon. Once anybody, I mean any entity now get nuclear weapon for any part of Africa, they can actually take that decision. I don't want you near here. I don't care if you are America, you are China, you are no. The whole continent of Africa stay freaking clear. That's exactly what that Monroe Doctrine was about. Now, that is the beginning of saying, you know what, you are regional hegemon. Now, when they always refer to Nigeria a potential regional hegemon, South Africa, but we are still here to see. So, non-intervention, the U.S. would not intervene in the internal affairs of other American states. Now, that should be noted. They also say they no go touch anybody matter. That means once You have your independence as Mexico, as Canada, as Paraguay, as Chile, as Brazil. We'll leave you alone. But let's see how long that lasts. Now, economic cooperation. The U.S. also sought to promote economic cooperation and trade among American states. The Pan-Americanism. The U.S. sought to promote a sense of shared identity and purpose among American states. So, if the day we God will bless us, get that kind of small power, right? These are the things that people like Kwame Nkrumah talked about in 1963. That we can actually achieve that if we come together. Maybe by now, with our share power of military, economy, and governance as a continent, we don't develop one. Now, this is just the beginning of what's in case once Donald Trump is signed into the White House and he begins dishes or cantings, people will begin to say, no, these are as it all boils down to whenever I talk, person like me, the only thought, it doesn't matter who becomes the president. It's a story that you have to continue. However you want to achieve more, that's your prerogative, right? But this is it. This is the way to go. This is how, at this junction, this is where we are. Everything is already been laid out. Because, as I said, America is an idea, and the idea is to dominate the whole planet Earth. Are they going to achieve it? I don't know. But that's where we are right now. Now, Trump's determination to treat the Western Hemisphere as a U.S. sphere of influence signal a revival of the Monroe Doctrine, right? So we just talked about, which is pretty much, again, the American system. Trump's remarks suggest that unchallenged atmospheric dominance will be able, again, we don't go through all that. So, but it started over 200 years ago. Let's talk about that. So, the American system in which no power were forbidden to meddle. He declared that the Western Hemisphere will be off limits and put the imperial power on notice. At the time, the British Empire, I mean, I see monarchy, you see all these European cities, they run their life. We should consider any attempt on their part to extend their system to any portion of this atmosphere as a dangerous to our peace and security. Listen, no. Any other Western power, European power, be it British or be it France or any whatever, who trying to extend their own system of government or way of life into any part of the America, they will treat it as dangerous to their peace, our peace and security. When any of us, when I mean any of us, of the continent of Africa, get something called nuclear, now the same authority that person will agree to, then would clap. No be all this one way that they do so. When I still remember early days of Ruto, when Ruto did, I say, yeah, that champion about, I was like, what are you guys talking about? This guy just a real point where they write for from uh, from suburb of New York. Una they clap for him. Anyway, as US power grew, successive administration invoked the doctrine not just as a shield, but as a sword. In 1845, President James K. Polk annexed Texas, lest it become an ally or dependency of foreign nation more powerful than the United States. The next year, Polk cited the doctrines to defend a war with Mexico that brought California, an American South, under the U.S. sovereignty. In 1867, Andrew Johnson summoned it to purchase Alaska. All this, you feel only do when you know what they work with. I don't flirt around with the idea that, say, today if I become American president, the first thing I will do to annex Niger, Cameroon, all those ones, they bring the joint together. Once you, that's how you convert the whole continent. But you have to have something that when you say, ha, everybody goes, okay, that motherfucker is crazy. Let's stay clear. Just like in North Korea, they don't fuck around, right? Once in a while, they go just go test their nuke. You can just say you can just say for CNN and they will just the murmur. That's it. That's all you could do, right? Nah, that's power. By the 1890s, the Monroe Doctrine was understood to be implied that the entire Western Hemisphere was an American preserve Grover Cleveland. That's what he said. From Brazil to New York, from North Dakota to Chile, from Washington, D.C. to New Mexico, every inch of the Americas is our playground. Don't come near. Now, this is the journey of what you see, say, America, Trump was talking about. I want to annex Canada, Mexico, every. This is, tell you, say, it's not new. Nor is it crazy. No, it's not crazy. It's just, that's the normal practice of America, but it just depends on the time and what is the technology that is being developed at that time and the revolution that is taking place. That's what it depends. So when there's some president, a transformational president, that's exactly what they mean. I remember when Stephen Bannon, one of those, not them be the real architect of MAGA, not them actually be, not them be Trump, not them, now they conceived the idea of MAGA movement, blew it to a point that they saw Trump as a potential and they what adopted Trump pretty much. If you listen to the current fight that is going on within the MAGA family, right? That's the new convert, Elon Musk and Vivek, aka the tech bro, who are going deep on HB visa. Like, if you pay attention, if you listen to Steve Bannon, he actually give a brief history of how the two get, how they arrive where they are. Like, literally telling Elon Musk to come. We like new converts. You're a new guy. We just come in. We like you guys, but there's a route to this game. Sit your heart. Yes, yes, yeah. You spend a lot of money. You spend over 250 million in June to organize voters. Put your money where your mouth is, and all that. For that reason, you deserve a seat at the table. But guess what? You should have to take a back seat and watch and learn. There's a rule to this game. There's a reason why we get to where we are before you decide to stay up. So if you pay attention to them, you're gonna say everything where they happen. There's a reason. You get out. But people will come, they tell you, they do this, they do that, but how, why? But it becomes a problem. So they will begin to say Trump is crazy, all this thing he's saying is stupid. No, it's not him speaking. This is the American idea in full operation. They know they are going to get to this junction at this time. They know. Nobody saying that. They know about 200 years ago. Nobody saying they just a dream. That's why I remember saying it on one man show. I think about 4 or 5 years ago now. Say America, they choose their president 40 years in advance, and people thought I was fucking crazy. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying in 40 years time they go tell you now James, I've been an author, I've been a Lucy go become president. No, but the character that will occupy that office 40 years from now, they don't know. Because it's just two generations. Now, people where they in charge of their space, they know that they measure the growth, that they reduce however they want. So nobody today, and they learn from other powers that came that rise and die before the birth of our United States of America. So by the 1890s, the Monroe Doctrine was understood to imply that the entire Western Hemisphere was an American preserve. Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland administration made this explicit in 1895 intervening in a dispute over the boundaries between Venezuela and British Guiana. U.S. Secretary of State Richard expressed what's become known as the doctrine coronary. Today, the United States is practically sovereign on this continent. Nobody they mess with them. No other power. Now China now they encroach. Now that's why we are where we are today. Now, and it is fiat is law upon the subject to which it confines its interposition. If we now remember, I think 90s when we now, I think late 90s to late 80s to early 90s. Nobody say I did it, but if you read in history, you understand there were a lot of coups in the Americas, from Paraguay to Chile to Brazil and all that. That is because the empire has been frustrated by socialism. Somebody will say Nicaragua, then they see the filler of it. Venezuela, then they see the chop. So when other system of governance within the Americas will happen, America just carry us of power. Coup begin happen everywhere. That when I go understand why we, and as a Nigerians, everything that happened in the system happen. We will get to that stage. So when I only thought in America is not in charge of us, not be British. Not because I'm big. I also know some people say, oh, no, when I be pro America. This is not about pro or it's not about good or bad. This is reality. This is how we get to where we are. And that's the only way we can get out of it. You need to understand why things happen the way they happened. So today, the United States is practically sovereign on this continent, and it yet is law upon the subject to which it confines its interposition. Lest that pandemic formulation left any doubt, he warned Britain that America's infinity resources combined with its isolated position render it master of the situation and practically vulnerable as against any or other powers. 3 years later, war with Spain handed the United States the island of Puerto Rico and a new protectorate in Cuba. In the Caribbean basin, it is now intervened at our will. In 1903, Theodore Roosevelt interceded to guarantee Panama's secession from Colombia. He guaranteed Panama's secession from Colombia. Let's take a pause for a minute. I once, jokingly told Chilakeji or Dr. Dameji that Biafra might be Chinese first colony. Right? Now, just put that one on the side for a minute. Today, the Trump administration wants Greenland. How they go fit achieve it in case Denmark say they won't sell? I think there are about 50 something thousand people that occupy the island of Greenland. What America need to do is to instigate them to want to succeed from Denmark. And that's it. America will support them. Once they succeed, and loyal to the United States, boom, they don't get what they want. That's exactly how, let's say, China become the world power tomorrow, and they wanted to announce Biafra from Nigeria. That's exactly how it will be. Easy. Then tomorrow, if Greenland can't get independence, then 20, 30, 40 years later, the whole place can't turn paradise. Because hey, you don't see them? You don't see Greenland? Eh? They were exactly like us 30 years ago. Today. No, that's not how things work. That's why when people are quick to use Japan, for instance, as an example. After America destroyed Japan, they come to their aid. They did not just move them away from military, they give them democracy, write their constitution, give them what is equivalent to 200 billion today to revive their economy, but not necessarily that. They direct all the other world power to focus their investment there. That's Japan that you have today. But they will tell you, oh, every single one of them, from Japan to Malaysia to Germany, the same is German fate. But anyway, make I know to make I know to get away from them. So 3 years later, war with Spanish handed the United States the island of Puerto Rico and the protectorate of Cuba in the Caribbean basin. It's now intervened at will. In 2003, in 1903, Theodore Roosevelt interceded to guarantee Panamanian succession from Colombia, securing sole right for the U.S. to build Eastern Canal. So, see why they built that canal? See how they were able to build it? They have to hit that island called Panama to succeed first. Then, boom. The next year, he issued his own colonial that the United States, however reluctantly, may act as a policing power in flagrant case of such wrongdoing or impotence. Even Woodrow Wilson, who hoped to put inter-American relationship on a more progressive footing, fell prey to unilateralism and temptation. In 1915, he sent Marines to Haiti to restore political and economic stability. See how they phrase them? If you go read the history of Haiti, before 1915, they were the most prosperous and advanced colony among all the British colony. 50% of what British they get, their GDP is from Haiti. That is because after they don't fight to get their own freedom, as I said a couple of days ago, they watch and study how the 13 colonies of America fought the British Empire, defeat them, get their independence. They swing to action. With under 100 years, they were able to organize and free themselves to be the first free black people on the planet Earth. They were the free black nation. After their freedom, they embark on the journey that had never been seen before, the rate at which they grow. So when Wilson sent Marines to Haiti to go restore political economic stability, the next year he ordered. That is because they have already gone into the place, inject all sorts of destabilization. While I start, because when they don't cut cares, what do? They send people to come and maintain peace. That is the open, and Haiti has never been the same again. The next year, he ordered the U.S. Army into Mexico in a fruitless punitive expedition to capture the revolutionary Pancho Villa, a shift basis for world order. Even Wilson's most famous foreign policy initiative, the League of Nations, the League of Nations, the League of Nations. Now, the League of Nations give the British, the French, to come and exploit the continent of Africa to build their world economy back after they went through devastation from the First World War. Remember, I always talk as if you don't understand the First World War, you might not understand why we are where we are today. So if you go read the League of Nations, remember there's the American system by who? James Monroe, who started all this foreign policy adventure. Right? So going back to after First World War, That's what the League of Nations, which give the British to come and take over. And that is where the German, where they accuse German that they are responsible for dating and strip them of their own colony. And hence we see Cameroon today, not part of Nigeria and the rest. Those are things to talk about every day. So that's when Malam Buba they talk was scolding about it, say Mali free us. And France are the only people that put us like what is this man talking about? That's another thing. That's another conversation. This is when during that period the amalgamation start of North and South territories, right? That is where the real colonialism starts, where they begin to exploit. Now, let me even read a little bit about that League of Nations. So, League of Nations. Gracias. That was that. Now, the League of Nations was an international organization established after World War One with the aim of promoting peace, security, and cooperation among nations. Here are some key factors. So now, I'll give you some key factors about it. Like funding and purpose. It was established in 1920. Civil War in the First World War had around what 1917 or so. Now, in 1920, the League of Nations was established as part of the Treaty of Versailles, which ended World War One. That Treaty of Versailles is also part of that treaty, ended Germany. Unbelievable tariff, unbelievable punishment they never said in their life. Render a nation that is feared by even world powers in the area of engineering, medicine. But after America come into the world, destroy them, finish, they now accuse them of being responsible for all how the war they start. So the Treaty of Versailles was part of all the deal that they have to pay back and all that, which gave birth to what? People like Hitler. Let's just say it's history. Now, the League of Nations also to promote peace and security. The League of goal was to prevent future, was to promote international cooperation, and that's where America began gather the world together. Just a minute, guys. Sorry. So the structure is the headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. And so when people from Swiss, revolution of country, the Swiss, they had this. That's why they try Assad that day. Swiss is enjoying whatever you think they're enjoying today. Do you know why? You don't know. Let's go back to the history of the country you live, then you understand. Now that means all the resources will be coordinated from there. So what do you expect? They have to make the place the way they want it to be. If up to today, that place still remains the prime example of even the nation state of tomorrow. It will be like Switzerland, the way that they live. So about 42 founding members. The League initially had 42 member states, including most European countries as well as countries from the Americas, Africas, and Asia, right? Now, Council and Assembly. The League had two main bodies. The Council composes of representatives from the major powers, and the Assembly, which include representatives from all the members. I mean, well, you can easily say it's what? UN of today, as the origin of UN of today. Now, if we say, okay, or they prevent war, or the League of Nations is to prevent war, including, okay, now, let's go back to the main That's to tell you how they begin the coordination of our history, where the reason why British were able to be bold enough to combine the two. They lost a little bit of part of the north to Niger, to Cameroon, and other kind of a thing. It is because German, who were in charge of that territory before, and now were defeated, so they have to pay heavily. And part of the payments to lost what they have already. Mona, like, share, subscribe. That's all I ask of you. I need nothing else. I just want you to like and subscribe. So, in case you are just joining us, we are dissecting the world that we live in today, the new world order. Trump world, one will say. So, before people will begin tell you that Trump is crazy, that he's doing or saying what have never been done before. No, 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 no. There's nothing that he is doing. The policy that is going to bring that is new to America. It's just the continuation of the American empire. As I said before, America, unlike any other country, is an idea. The sole idea is to be the world dominant, to dominate the planet freaking Earth, every inch of it, if possible. They're going to achieve that, we see. So, before now, Russia stood their way, lost that USSR, Soviet Union. West Germany, lost. Imperial Japan, lost. Germany themselves, lost. British, everyone. So, we'll see if China will succeed. So where we did? We did 1900s, right? 19. We did League of Nations. League of Nations. So the League of Nations, which hope will preserve international peace after World War One, was was constructed to fit under the Monroe Doctrine. Again, the foundation started 1823 with the Monroe Doctrine. Oh my God! Sorry, I'm gonna reverse. That's what it's on. Yeah, Monroe Doctrine from its domestic audience. Despite the domestic audience means they're only the Americas, right? Now they are expanding it to the whole freaking planet Earth. After all, they decided the war that just concluded, the First World War, as they termed it. So, of course, they don't grow balls now. They said, despite the global rather than the continental approach, Wilson framed its promise of universal collective security as the logical extension of the general arrangement, right? In the name of what? Security, world peace, the idea of world police. We are policing the world. This is our responsibility. We have a responsibility to police the world. See where it started from? That is the whole logical reason of extending the regional agreement. Nations should, with one accord, adopt the doctrine of President Monroe as the doctrine of the world, that no nation should seek to extend its polity over any other nation or people. Uh, Western realist critic were unmoved. If we have the Monroe Doctrine everywhere, resorted Senator Henry Covert, we may be perfectly certain that it will not exist anywhere. At the point, a universal collective security system was fundamental at odds with one of the greatest power spheres of influence. In the end, nationalist anxieties about preserving U.S. hemispheric dominance helped doom Senator approve for the League Convention. Monroe Doctrine, long-standing grip of U.S. foreign policy, finally began to loosen in the 1930s with the election of Franklin D. Roosevelt and America's subsequent turn to globalism. In his first inaugural address in March 1933, FDR advocated a non-interventionist course in the Western Hemisphere, the policy of the good neighbor. I wonder what Trump would tag his own policy when it comes. Policy of a good neighbor. Following U.S. entry into the World War II. Hold on, oh. Policy of a good neighbor. Now, it started that no other nation should intervene on any other what? State. Does that sound good enough? Now, let's continue. Policy of good intervention. That was 1933. Following U.S. entry into the World War II, his administration drafted blueprints for an open rule bound world order based on collective security and multilateral commerce, aka globalization. Significantly, FDR rebuffed efforts from Britain and the USSR to negotiate spheres of influence, eliminating their post-war regional prerogative. Does that sound that what is happening right now? Will Donald Trump sit down with China and Russia and negotiate how they will share the power? Or will they refuse, as they refused Britain and USSR? Remember, Britain was also an regional hegemony, kinda, right? The USSR. Now, after you don't win war, finish, because it is the end when America entered the war, everything become history. When you don't win war, finish. Who are you? Why are you going to negotiate with people where you just defeat for war? It doesn't happen anywhere. A beach around beach, just like you say, maybe Tinubu goes sit down, they negotiate that they run the government with Atiku or Tinubu. Bano. No, they won. So they refused. So it will be fun to see if Donald Trump will sit down with Putin and Xi Jinping to say they want to negotiate how the world should be governed. Now, it's negotiate sphere of influence, but power, the Charter of the United Nations reflected this universality instincts, and FDR was jubilant. On his return from the conference in March 1945, he declared the summit a turning point. 1945, after the war don't finish, in world history, he predicted the United Nations would reverse policies of unitarianism action, the exclusive alliance, the spheres of influence, the balance of power that had been tried for centuries and have always failed. Yet quickly become a symbol for what FDR revealed: acknowledgement of a close Soviet sphere of influence in Eastern Europe. USSR on the wrong things for Eastern Europe, right? Reinforced by the descent of an iron curtain. As for the United States, its own ostensible rejection of sphere proved selective and efficient. National security officials insist on retaining U.S. hegemony in Central America and the Caribbean. Our title, region over here, which has never bothered anybody. Secretary of State Secretary of War Henry Stimson quipped to try to reduce any cognitive dissonance. U.S. officials insist that these were open rather than closed sphere, allowing countries freedom in their political and economic choice and international relations. Now, the idea of your independence is now bettered. So country don't begin get independence from the colony that was allowed to them by America to exploit to build their what country back after the survival from War One. So they don't fight World War II now. America won't go to the next level. It's going from being the champion of all the Americas to be the champion of the world. So in order for them to achieve that, they have to what? Tell those power to say, you know what? Let my neighbors go. Let my people go. And say, once the Cold War began, any U.S. circumspection about the Monroe Doctrine vanished. Washington moved to secure Latin America from communist, subservient, and US and Soviet influence, making it a closed sphere in an open world. In an open world. You can go Africa and do your thing, go everywhere, but don't come over to this place, man, because you're going to get it. Hopefully, everybody understand that. That's power, if you ask me. It intervened repeatedly against left-wing governments and movements. Left-wing government means communism, any communism that is coming. As in Guatemala, the Dominican Republic, Chile, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Grenada, they were all crushed. Again, Nigerians, that's always say ask, what? How many are we ready to sacrifice if we say we want to take our destiny to our hand? Because that's what it's going to take, not more. So now that you understand, due to the historic President Trump, you now understand why Trump is talking about the Panama, the Mexico, the Greenland, Canada, because it's not as maybe a story or it's going to happen. So Trump insists that the Denmark relinquished Greenland can be seen in the same light. Trump's ambition to acquire the strategically located, resources-rich island, 3 times the size of Texas, U.S. territorial purchase from previous centuries that were roundly criticized at the time, but later regarded as tremendous deal. Uh, Most obvious among them were the acquisition of the Louisiana Territory from France in 1803 for $50 million and of Alaska from Russia in 1867 for 7.2 million. Trump, too, isn't the first president to set the sight on Greenland. Andrew Johnson considered acquiring it in 1867. 1867, long. And Henry Truman offered Denmark 100 million in gold for it in 1946. But for now, the island isn't biting. Well, Trump said, man, ain't go use gun if we're not doing anyhow. Military will go in. Given Trump's impulsive temperature and capricious style, it is perilous to attribute his utterances to any underlying grand strategy. Still, one thing seemed likely. The logic of fear will be at the core of his approach to world order. This is partly a function of his long-standing aversion toward globalism, multilateralism, anti-agrarian alliance, and forever wars in distant countries. Instead, he would preemptively agree with Secretary of State John Quincy Adams in 1822. America goes north abroad in search of monsters to destroy. Although often interpreted as an impression of isolationism, that line is more accurate, read as waving against imperial overreach. Like Monroe, the president to whom Quincy Adams reported, Trump is no isolationist. He seeks U.S. retrenchment from globalism, but insists the United States dominance its immediate neighborhood. to fend off both atmospheric stability and geographical adversary, not least China. Since 2010, China has made major inroads into Latin America, bolstering its domestic and commercial presence in investing and in massive infrastructure projects. See why they want to take over control of Panama? Because when you take over the control of Panama, automatically you control every commerce within that region. So they want to put China on chokeholds. Pretty much all their investment there will gradually die. That's what they're trying to do. The United States, meanwhile, has long treated the region as a peripheral concern, pursuing a policy of not so being neglect. With Trump election, this seems poised to change. Writing back in May 2024, the historian Hal Brand speculated that a second helping of Trumpism would feature an energized Monroe Doctrine, with Washington retreating from its long alliance in Europe and Asia, instead focusing on intensifying and perhaps heavier-handed efforts to safeguard American influence in the New World and to prevent rival from gaining a foothold there. Although Trump has not yet taken office, his reorientation appears well underway. But if there is a strong case for Trump to ramp up U.S. focus on the Americas, explicitly review the interventionist, Monroe Doctrine will be deeply counterproductive beyond similar anti-American nationalism in the hemisphere, such as throwback. So another implication of what America is embarking on is Europe. Europe are going to be left on their own. No, in America, they take care of you before, security-wise, and pretty much their economy. So now you're going to be left on their own. God save them and God save us all, because they will call us for Africa, as they don't get anything. So we are in very interesting time, and while we're busy, focus on who will put food at our table. People don't sell us out already.
People protested when I was governor. They even caused strike. They shut down our schools for months, our hospitals for months. Well verified. We need more transparency. And when you talk about transparency in terms of figures, you show it, you elucidate it. Figures are not 1 + 1 is 2. It's not something you say it's just 2 because of. Tell us how we arrived at it and we'll believe. And when we talk about subsidy, as continuously said, if we are removing subsidy, what are we replacing it with? Where are we applying that subsidy we removed to? So if you say to me, I've removed subsidy, I'm going to use it to build this number of classrooms, to be able to pull out of school children into school, so we can verify and follow and track those schools. We have issue in health, primary health care, especially issue of infant mortality. Removal of the subsidy will enable us to build this number of primary health cares in different, so that we can measure it. So you don't remove something without saying what is replaced and where are we moving our money to. Or it's helping us to manage our debts. This is it. But here we have fuel subsidy removed, the debt is increasing, and we're not seeing anything. We have to continue our journey on democracy. It's government of the people, for the people, and by the people. However, we need to tweak it where we have some level of parliamentary system in it, like it's in South Africa. So we need to deal with issue of more scrutiny in our expenditure and are borrowing in efforts to be able to ensure that our scarce resources is prioritized to areas of urgent need for development, from security, food, all those areas, education. I'm not preoccupied about 2027 election. I'm preoccupied by Nigerians eating today and having a better life. I've said it before, my politics is not about the election. I am not desperate to be president, and I don't want to. What I want to hear is that fuel prices are coming down, bread is getting cheaper, Nigerians are not. You cannot be talking about 38 million Nigerians facing hunger, and I'm talking about next election. Let's talk about hunger. Let's talk about managing our resources today. Let's talk about doing the right thing, the right behavior, showing example to the younger ones, growing up that we're leaders. I've said that everybody, they have right to protest. I've said it before. I would discuss with every protester. They even won government months before they did that. I would sit down and discuss with them. People protested when I was governor. They even called strike. They shut down our schools for months, our hospitals for months. Well verified. I was talking with them. I didn't come down. I have never, as a politician, as a governor, for one day, go and ask any policeman, say, please, stop somebody. Talk less of arresting the person. It shouldn't be. In a democracy, people have right to say no. I've said it every day. If I'm managing this facility and everybody loves me, I will resign.